Peace and joy, guys. Welcome back to another video, Drumheller Farms. Today we are gonna be testing out a new piece of equipment on the farm. This is a tree slash post puller. This is from Titan Attachments, and we just got this thing this weekend, and I'm gonna check it out on some pastures. We've got some multiflora rows and some saplings that keep wanting to grow up, and we're going to check it out on that Kubota SVL 75 and see how well it works. But first we got to move some cattle to a new pasture, and hopefully it's going to be one of the last pastures until we go out grazing for the summer. Little update on me: I have a torn ACL, a torn meniscus, and fractures in my knee. So was very worried about this year, farming season coming up. I am happy to announce that the doctor said I can do physical training and postpone the surgery till probably after all of that, after our farming season. So that's what I've chose to do, and hopefully I can get through the year. God is good. I'm expecting healing, and just go from there. We'll be using the tractor today yet again to do chores, get the cattle moved. Allison and Harper are out setting up a fence right now, and we're gonna meet them out there. Yeah, this sucks, man. I was not planning on this rain today. I think it's gonna put a damper on us checking out that new piece of machinery. I really wanted to get that thing on the skid steer and see how well it works, seeing if it'll pull some multiflora rows. That's our biggest issue on this farm. It's not so much cedars or burdock or whatever, it's multiflora rows. That seems to be the #1 invasive species that attacks our pastures, and it's about the only thing out there that the cows will not touch. So there's a couple areas where that stuff has grown up extremely invasive, and I thought, man, if I could track over to that thing and just pick it up, pull it out by its roots, that could be a pretty valuable piece of equipment. All right, here they all are waiting. This has turned into a muddy mess out here, using this tractor to feed. Again, don't really have another choice. Something we just have to deal with. Here comes Allison and Harper. right, they're in a fresh paddock here. Some of them are eating the hay. Some of them are going out grazing, picking up little bits that were left. They were in this field last, probably around the November time frame. And I didn't feel like we got enough fertilizing on this field. This was the one we needed to get fertilized the most. We wanted to bring this field back to them, and we're gonna work our way right across this whole thing. This is a 20-acre field, and I'm looking to really fertilize this with hay and manure. And you know, like these guys here, they're out just picking up little bits of grass that either have grown at the late year or beginning of this year here. I've seen some people talk about going out on pasture here in the next couple weeks, and that's not us. Here in Michigan, we had about a ½ inch of snow on the ground yesterday. So we're normally late April before our pastures are grown up enough to get out on some good grass. And you got to be careful on when you start those cattle. Some people think the golden rule is as soon as it greens up, you put them out there, and I'm going to tell you that is not true. If you just put them out there as soon as it's green, you're going to stunt the growth of that grass for the rest of the year, and you are going to regret putting them out there so early. You can see, again, some of these cattle are out there just grazing that little bit of grass that was left behind. But there's really not a whole lot out there, so we're gonna throw them down some hay. You can see some of them are not even interested in that little bit of grass. They're just over here grazing that nice green bale we just laid out for them. All right, well, it stopped raining. Let's get this skid steer fired up and check out that new tree puller. Looks like they got it strapped down with some wire here. So I'm gonna have to get a couple tools. Yeah, it looks like I can flip that thing over here, but I think I need to move it before I do that. Let's see how this thing hooks up here. We got all kinds of remotes here I never had on my old skid steer, so this is the first time I've ever hooked auxiliary up to this thing. Not bad. Nice. That's it. Let's go see if we can pull some shrubs and trees and whatever else we get into that we need to pull. All right, guys, this is the problem on our farm, and that is the multiflora rows. And this is a slope fence. You can see this fence is on a slope. Now, this is on our lease farm, and Steve, the landowner, had put this fence up with the plans of doing some produce farming inside here. This is so animal proof that raccoons won't even go through that, believe it or not. It deters them. It deters the deer from jumping in there because they can't tell the depth of it, and even a raccoon won't go through that fence. So it is very good to keep predators out. The problem is with it is birds will rest on here, poop out seeds, and you can see there's multiflora rows and different trees that will grow underneath this thing. Now, it's a little bit wet today, so I'm not going to get too carried away on pulling these out, because it is tearing up the pasture just a little bit here. But you can see how easily it just ripped that. Looks like that's a mulberry tree or something. But Steve and I have just gone through this about 2 years ago, and we pulled all the trees out of this, trees and multiflora rows out from underneath this slope fence. And you can see how quickly, just a few years, they've already come back. So that's gonna be the issue. I know it'll pull the trees. I don't know if it'll pull the multiflora rows out by the roots. It might take a little bit of playing around with it to try to get low enough to grab the roots. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna give it a try here and see what happens. Well, it does appear that it will pick some of them up by their roots. And of course, this is my first attempt. So I think the more you play around with it, the better chances of you getting down low enough underground and ripping it up by its roots. I'm gonna try one that's just out in the middle of the field when I don't have this fence to contend with, and see what happens. All right, here's a prime example of what we're dealing with out in some of our pastures. These are just spotted around here and there, and it's almost not even worth bringing the brush hog out for this. Now, my thoughts were, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna nip it and I'm gonna paint those stumps so that they don't grow back. I don't believe in chemicals, but sometimes you just have to use the chemicals to get rid of these things. So that will be my next step, is using a little bit of chemicals on these, mixed with some diesel fluid. But I'm gonna see if this tool will work. If this will work, I can just walk around to a couple of these bushes and grab a hold of them and rip them out. Looks like I got it by the roots that time, huh? right, guys. Well, as you can see, that's about a half a minute worth of work, and it seems to be working very, very well. So I'm not gonna do a whole lot more today. I'm gonna wait till it's a good dry day. Another thing I thought about is I could put that same attachment on the front of the Kubota backhoe, because I have front hydraulics on that piece of machinery as well. You won't be able to see it quite as close, which is nice about the skid steer, you can see it really well. But we'll have to see what kind of mess it makes on a dry day. We've got a ton of rain here recently, along with snow and freeze thaw and everything else. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down in the comment section. I'm gonna post a link to that Titan attachment down in the description of the video, so you guys can check out everything they have to offer. They have a ton of stuff, and just might be ordering another little piece of equipment from them here pretty soon. So you have to stay tuned and check that out. Appreciate you watching. Hit that subscribe button, and God bless.